Yeah, anyway. It always starts with a laugh because it comes right in at the heel of the podcast part. Oh my god. Well, oh fuck. I didn't say I only put our ratings. I didn't get the thing with the poster for the movie. So we're gonna talk about Monkey Man first. On this on this episode, we got a really absurd. Brace the absurdity, baby. That's what it's all about. We got really absurd, so that's why we're laughing. But we are reviewing tonight Monkey Man, from producer Jordan Peele and new director, and written by Dev Patel. We'll talk about that second. We're going to talk about the First Omen first, and that one gets interesting. So this one is a prequel. It's getting the Exorcist treatment, as I call it, the Omen franchise, and it's getting a prequel about the mother of Damien, who may or may not be at an orphanage or a nun. And I say that not lightly because this movie. Before we begin, we will be spoiling a little bit. We try not to go too hard. If you've seen it, great. If you haven't, you don't want any spoilers, we get it. Tune out. Maybe come check us out and again. But we're not going to go too hard into it. We're not going to reveal too much. But there really wasn't big twists or turns with these. So it's not really a spoiling thing. So the stuff, in my opinion, that we could spoil, like the cool death scenes, stuff like that, we're going to spoil those too. We may. So just deal with us. But let's talk about the First Omen. So you have a lot more to say on this than I do. And that's probably, and I'm still long-winded. So I want you to finish this one off. I'm going to just go real quick and say, I think this was a most needless movie I think I've ever seen. It was pointless to a point where it's like, I did not need this story extended whatsoever. You could have just retold it. You could have done it. It could have been done really well. In fact, you could have made the prequel interesting. It could have been really interesting if it tied in together, or just stop trying to like reinvent the original or retcon or do this. Like, why not tie it in? Like, I think at one point, I think I fixed this movie at one point with my hypothesis where I thought she was the nun who was taking care of the little girl who would go on to become the mother of Damien, or she was going to give birth to Antichrist, rather. What I mean. The nun, I thought it would have been cool if like she ended up being the nanny who hangs herself, because has a direct contact. They reinvent that scene in this. Stupidly. I'm sorry that it was. I mean, the visuals were cool, but it's like it was kind of pointless. I was like, why you're selling it? It's kind of like how Star Wars fucked up the prequels. Like, you're going back there and you're trying to force us to like something, and it's just not there. Just give us the stuff that we like, and tell a good story, which none of which they do. So that really bothered me. The visuals are cool. Again, like there's some death scenes. There's one with the stainless glass and such, and two priests, Charles Dance being one of them. Thought it was really well done. I really liked it. The way they played it out. There's just some really cool stuff here that amounts to nothing in this whole bubble of a terrible movie. I really have a very big problem with the subgenre of like Christian-based horror films. Mostly they're the exorcism films that involve religion. Yeah. In a major capacity. Like there are some movies that are doing it, to my understanding, Late Night with the Devil, and other movies like there's where it doesn't have a religious component, but there is possession involved. So remove those. I'm not saying possession films. Right. I'm saying Christian or religious based I'll just say Christian based like horror. Stuff like that. Honestly, at this point, give it to Christian screenwriters, Christian-based screenwriters. Right. Go for it, and go for that Christian base. Like the Christian base has a huge movie industry on its own. And when I say huge, I'm not saying slouch. You may not agree with the messages or whatever, and I'm not even, I've seen some. I like the sentimental ones, not bad. The tear jerkers. I don't like the ones that like make you feel like it's the apocalypse if we take your guns or something. And like it's like it's just as outlandish as the other side. It's just like, it's just too much. But like the football ones and stuff, like, yeah, listen, I like it. I dig it. It's fun. So stuff like that, you know. And it's the same with like those Hallmark movies. Like, yeah, I don't like those movies, but I'll watch Jesse Stone all fucking day long. Let's do this. You don't know what I'm talking about. That's your problem. Go watch Jesse Stone after the show. So for me, it's like, I think it would be a cool experiment to just be like, all right, we're going to hire Christian-based writers to write these types of horror movies more for their base and catch on, see if it works.
Right.
Or at the very least, change it up and revitalize it a little bit so that way other writers get inspired.
Right.
You know, there's a reason William Peter Blatty made The Exorcist work so well. He researched the actual religion, put the faith behind it, you know, and that it feels hollow when you don't do that. And out of all of the shit that I just mentioned, this movie the most hollow, and that is why I say that. And that's all I got to say before I give my rating. Paul, take it away.
So if you guys want to see a good version of this movie, just watch the original Omen with Gregory Peck, and there you go. Because this one was a snooze fest. They stole too many of the scenes from the original. I mean, you can't beat Gregory Peck, like, at the end of the day, because even the first Omen, or not the first Omen, like this movie, like the original Omen movie, you just can't beat his acting. Like, just period. So even though it might be a little more boring by horror standards, that Omen is still the better one of all of them, in my opinion. This one, like you said, it was pointless. And unfortunately, you know, we watched the Gregory Peck Omen before we saw this, because, you know, I was hoping to build more story, and the trailer for First Omen looked amazing. They made it seem like it was gonna be ominous and creepy, and I was like, oh hell yeah, and was disappointed from start to finish, just being like, oh, that's from the other Omen. That's from the other Omen. What is this? Why are we talking about this? Okay. It's one, not to steal from Sturdy, but I'd say watch at your own risk. I wouldn't recommend this movie to anybody unless they want to be bored. If they're like, oh, I want to watch something to fall asleep to, there you go. Watch the First Omen.
I honestly, this is these tropes too. And what bothers me, I think, the most about this movie is its portrayal of like women.
Yeah,
it's own, and for the reason is the unbelievability of it. It kind of takes the humanity out of women in a weird way.
Yeah,
and its characters.
Yeah,
and it's trying to force a different narrative of what the original was, and I think that's what it was. It was like, you're trying to make this societal, but you're not understanding the reason people like the Antichrist story.
Right.
So when it comes down to it, it's just kind of like, all right, so what do we? And you know, I don't know the director. Yeah, she's a female filmmaker, she wrote it too and stuff, but like, this didn't feel like it felt more formulaic in tone to what we see, how women are portrayed. And like, now get mad, whoever wants to get mad at that statement and be like, oh, but look at so many great horror movies with female leads where they're written so well. And that's especially in recent years where you get some really cool stuff, especially from younger actors. Like Totally Killer was a really good one. Lisa Frankenstein, like, you know, stuff like that, where you're getting these really strong female characters that are enhancing the story of the movie, you know, of the narrative, you know, within the movie. And that's what I'm talking about when I say this.
Right.
These characters did none of that. They were kind of pointless. They were almost like these useless tropes that have been, you know, so far gone, you just want to get away from them. And that I just had to kind of drop the hammer on that. I just really did not like this movie.
Same.
Our ratings for this are 2 out of 5 for both.
Yeah,
we got pretty similar minds, I think, when it comes to this stuff. But
yeah,
we're going to talk about Monkey Man.
Heck yeah.
And I wanted to say this because this is another one that was so different. It took sort of a subgenre within itself, one that you would put like maybe the John Wicks in, and the stuff like that, the Mr. Nobodies, where you kind of get these like characters you would not think are badass,
right?
But then they have this badass story to them. And what bugs me about the rest is like Mr. Nobody and John Wick in particular. They think it's interesting to leave their backstories out, to leave them haunted. It worked in the first John Wick, and then you tried to expand in every other one, and I just don't think it worked.
Gotcha.
I didn't mind the world building, but it was too much. I would have preferred you build an anthology out of this than just focus on the one guy. Personally, that's just me. He could still be there,
Right.
and he could even be in the head of it, but now you're building on a whole world rather than just focusing on the chase on him or something. You know, I don't know. I'm not going to get into that because we're focusing on Monkey Man, and the reason I come back to that is that's what they gave you in this. And I really think the backstory that they added to this enhanced it so much.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it because I love that he's not a great fighter in the beginning.
No, at
He
all.
sucks at it, but he's good at getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, he can take a hit, no problem.
Yeah. But he sucks at fighting, and that's how he makes his money. And he's like got this whole revenge idealistic plot against the guy who killed his mother. Well, you assume they never really say his mother until a certain point. I mean, you do get there fairly quickly. I'm not saying, but like in the beginning, they don't immediately. You just kind of assume it is because he's a kid.
Right.
So like again, there's no twist there. But to find out how the society plays into it, I really love this movie. I have one gripe against it.
Okay.
And it's an odd gripe. I don't do this often. So this is kind of a monumental one because like I don't even know when the last time I said it was. But on the review, I think it should have been longer. I think it should have been longer, and I think it should have been in the back half when he finally is trained and he's going, when he takes the money and he goes to make the fight to get more money for him so they can pay off, and they start cheering Monkey Man. I thought they should have made Monkey Man like he doesn't take the mask off by that point. He's basically Batman at this point. He's still gunning for revenge. He wants to kill, but now he's taking down the corruption little by little. He's kind of like Deadpooling it a little bit to get to that final killer, but he's taking out the business along the way.
Right.
I thought, or Old Boy even would be another good, sort of parallel. I thought if you made it a little, and you don't have to go too long, you can montage that.
Right.
I'd say you can add maybe another 20 minutes to this. And if you added that story where like these guys feel the pressure because the Monkey Man is tearing their business down. Yeah. We need to go on the hunt. And then that's when he decides I'm going for them. And then it turns into like that raid type scenario where he's going up the castle.
Yeah.
And that should have been longer, in my opinion.
Yes.
That was too long, in my opinion. Here's a weird, I know this is where my brain gets absurd, but that was too long because they didn't have that longer story.
Right.
Of him bringing down sort of the corruption along with it. Because by the time he dies, he takes off the mask and kills the guy and he dies. And yes, okay, I know I ruined the end, but like, it's beautiful. Like, that isn't the thing that you should be with, because there's more to it after that. And it's fucking beautiful, and it's one of the most. And Dev Patel, keep making movies, man. You're a smart dude. I really like your imagery. I really like the sound to this. You had a great sound in this. The music, the music was fantastic. It was like it was like Janice was in there. I think the Doors was in there at some point. Like all this different music, but it had like this very India-based music background, like the culturally. It was like, but it was the singers.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah,
I thought, and it added such a great. I went into this movie like I'm not really interested. It's another John Wick. I don't care. It's another actor trying to make himself look like a badass. And I want to apologize for that because this was a really good fucking movie. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I do wish people would get out to see it. I think go see it in theaters. It's a good mix. Everybody, like the comedy was a good amount. It gets dark, but it also like is heartwarming at times. Really, really good, well-paced story. I just wish it was longer so that way we could have added the element of him tearing down the corruption along the way, not just killing them. That's a personal preference, though. Right. I get why he did what he did. Doesn't make the movie bad. It's just a personal preference. I would have liked to have seen that. Because then I think that would have added to the Monkey Man ideal more and made it more of a bigger, like, wow, the Monkey Man's tearing down the corruption. That's crazy. I've gone on. I talked, but I was just really excited to do it. Tell us, what do you think about this movie?
So I looked a lot into the backstory of just the film, period, before I saw it. So I kind of was going in thinking it kind of might be a little low rate. I get, Monkey Paw Productions helped out. So Jordan Peele, backed it and brought him back. But when I heard that Netflix dropped him, I'm like, oh shit, it must be a bad story since Netflix dropped him. And then I heard they had like every problem you could have while filming, they had to film some scenes even on their phones. So I was like, I feel like this is going to be, like you said, kind of a John Wick, but done really poorly. And kind of like you, I need to apologize because I was so wrong. The acting was spot on. I loved how much they made it tie into, an Indian religious story. I thought that was really cool. I thought it was done right. I think if if you're not one that loves John Wick and you want more of a realistic one, this is a realistic-esque John Wick. Because he's not invincible, you know, he's not killing 120 people by himself and barely getting a bruise here or there. He gets hurt, he gets stabbed, he gets messed up. And like you said, the culture just visually, a lot of those scenes and the parties, and I forget what they said, not New Year's, but whatever they were celebrating. I just loved all the colors and the music. I like that he paid homage to that community, because I think that shined a light on that community, because now I want to know more about Indian culture and look into that a little bit more, just because I was like, you know, this was an interesting story. I liked how that one, I guess, religious tale of Monkey Man was the whole basis kind of him and, you know, the villain in this. And they tied it all together, and I thought it was done beautifully.
100%. No, please continue. I really want to hear what you say, but I 100% agree. I wanted to pull it up again because just some information on it. I want to see how it did in the box office this weekend, because I have to tell you, like, you could continue the story. You could, said he died. That's not necessarily true,
right?
You know, so like because there is also a lore there that can he die,
right?
And they play into it really well. Like that's what I love. Religious movies like this, when there's a religious basis to it, because it's not force feeding anything, but it's telling me about the culture of your religion,
right?
And that makes me want to read up on it more,
right?
I'm telling you, like the Christian PR people need to like create a culture where you're like enticed to come in and like be like, I want to learn about this more. Take it from this, because this movie does do it, because it has it really does. It shares the culture so well, from all many different, from the dark points to the really beautiful points. I love the way you put that. And its budget was 10 million and only made 12.7. I urge people to go see this. I think it's a really good film. It's a violent film.
Yes.
So like if you're thinking of date night, but it's not a horror movie.
No, not at all.
I think it got a connotation of a horror movie because it's dark and it's
monkey paw.
Monkey paw, you know, we're used to that, but like I think it's I try to have some fun. Masturbators, I love that. Masturbators.
I bet you do, Mick.
I want to talk to you. I love that. That's
I could go on all day with the masturbators.
We can masturbate all day, and I'm all for it. Let's do it.
Oh man,
I'd have a lot of fun masturbating with you.
Yeah. And Patel took a beating. He took a beating during that movie. Like when you hear about the injuries, got pink eye. You know, and that was crazy. that told me so much about the film beforehand, because like I said, like the bathroom scene, you know, you're not with these big Hollywood productions where it's a whole clean set and stuff. Like, nah, you filmed in like a bathroom, and I'm sure someone tried to clean, and I'm not trying to say someone did a shit job, but obviously it wasn't clean enough to where he got pink eye. Like you never hear Tom Cruise got pink eye filming, you know, Mission Impossible 19. Like that never happens. Like this man went through it, kept trying. Netflix dropped him, and he still kept his head up. So yeah, you guys go see it because he deserves it. This movie deserves it.
I'd like to see more from him.
Yes, and I respect. That's why I love Jordan Peele. This just made me love him more. That he said, "Wow, this is great. I love it. I want to back it. Let's push it."
And that's and I want to say this when we're talking about filmmakers who are people of color, you know, and then we talk about movies that are coming more from people of color. And a lot of people argued about the Jordan Peele when he was like, and he's so out of context whenever they quote it. It was like, you know, I don't want to cast the white guy in the leads in my, or the white people in the leads in my movies anymore. I've seen those movies. Like, I love that there is like, he's putting out great voices, telling great stories from different point of views. Because I got to be honest, defend what you want, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of greatness coming out of anywhere else. Yeah. So like, and I'm not just saying to Jordan Peele, but like a lot of the indie, you know, those guys and stuff like that are putting out some really great stuff. So, and that's what I want. I want more filmmakers like that. Sharto Copley played a great character in this. I don't know her name. What's his name? Rana Singh, who played the bad guy. I know it because of the name badge. I wish I knew his name off the bat, but he was fantastic. He was so terrifying.
Yeah,
the whole time. And even the guy who played like the head leader,
the
religious leader that he was working for that was corrupt. The whole element I thought did a great job. I just, I mean, I can gush and gush about this movie all day long, but that is one of the things. I think it was just a beautifully done movie, and our ratings for this were, I gave it a 4 and you gave it a 3.5. That's a good rating. It's a strong rating.
Yes.
That's definitely a go check it out, I think, for both of us.
Yes. And I will tell you guys, when I went into it, I thought it might be a 2 at best going into it. So I was pleasantly, very happily surprised that it turned out how it did.
I'm also going to argue, maybe go see this before seeing anything coming out this weekend. If you want to go see what's coming out this weekend, go ahead. I don't care. The whole Civil War thing, and it feels like such a plant movie, and it feels like so ridiculous, and that's fine. I don't mind weird, absurd movies and checking it out, but like, it also feels like that pandering I was talking about. It's like the extreme side of putting Robert Pattinson in the World Trade Center and Remember Me. And if anybody's watching this review as a clip and that wonders what I'm talking about, go watch the podcast. You'll figure it out. So, and I said it smugly, but please go do it. It is a lot of fun. We had a good time, but it's one of those things where it's like it's extreme pandering the other side that's really just trying to scare people against a certain type of people. And I don't, again, I'm not about that. It's not very weak. So I think I'm just going to be like, have fun with your Civil War. I'm going to, I don't know if it's living in my own little bubble. Believe that the world isn't turning into that, but like, I just don't know if I'm ready for that type of movie yet, or have a desire to see it.
No, that's fair. But I'm ready for Civil War.
That's a rough way to tell you. Yeah, I'm probably not doing that one next week. But
I'll go see it. I live in the Bible Belt.
That would be a good go see or stream.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, that'll be a fun one. All right. Well, mixed movie pick for the week comes from 1948. This is one of the movies. It's called The Bicycle Thieves out of Italy. Well, actually, it's originally called The Bicycle Thief, I believe. I did some research on it, and I believe it was The Bicycle Thief, and then they called it The Bicycle Thieves when they brought it over to America. We're sort of playing it. So it's such a great tale about, in post-war Italy, work is scarce. Having a bicycle to be able to get back and forth from work is a big commodity, a huge asset in that world for people just looking to scrape by. And a man finally gets a bicycle, saves up for it, finally gets it, gets the job. He's starting in a couple of days, and it gets stolen. And this movie follows he and his son on their desperate attempt to get their bicycle back. And I know it may sound silly or juvenile when you say bicycle. It is a wonderful tale, but it is also... It holds a lot of things up to a microscope. Like, that's why I say I don't feel like going to see movies like Civil War. Personal preference. Not saying I'll never see it. Not saying I won't review it. But that for me is like one, I don't want to go see those like propaganda films that are pointing at one side or this, that, or the other thing. I want to watch movies like this that smartly display what economic downturn is, how it feels in Reconstruction, trying to keep your family afloat and the desperate need for that. And not as a downer, but as the beautiful tale that is interwoven between the father and son and what's being taught and just that whole examination of that life. This is a fantastic movie. In fact, on the Scene Snobs Facebook page, very early on when we were called Movies 365, and this is back in 2013, this is one of the first movies I did a written review on. So it should still be up there. So you might be able to find it. It used to be by the film poster. So I don't know if it's the same one, but you can go check it out there. So there's more to say on that if you go read it. But this is a fantastic film. I do think everybody should go check it out. It's an Italian film from 1948, The Bicycle Thief, or The Bicycle Thieves, one or the other. But please go check it out. That's my mixed movie pick for the week. Guys, we're here at the end. A couple things I got to tell you. A couple of little blurbs I got to say to you. Shopify, we love you. You out there, you want to start a business? Shopify is how you do it. If you don't know that, I don't know what to tell you. No, seriously though, Shopify is great. Shopify does help you start your e-commerce business from beginning to end. They'll help you put everything together, and they'll take care of things. You have support through them, stuff like that. See, I have cards, but not for Shop. So there are some really great things. I did put up, so what they're offering right now, if you go down in the link below, free for 3 days. And then 1 month, your first month is $1. And then you check it out, and it's not much more than that. So go check it out. Let me know what you think. We also have another one that I want to point out today that my wife signed us up for, and I have had them. They're gummies, but they have lots of great things, and that's Pure Hemp Botanicals. They get you a nice little stagnant high. I liked it. It was really nice.
Okay.
Like, it made me very chill to watch movies with. And right now they're offering 25% off Delta 9 THC. You can go down in the link below and you can get your offer. So go check them out. Tell them the Scene Snobs sent you. I would like to tell you guys, we are pitching a little bit more with the sponsor stuff like that. We're growing. We have more shows coming, lots of fun stuff. If you like the channel, we always appreciate that support that goes into. We always appreciate all the things that you guys do for us. And check out the sponsors, whatnot. But other ways that you can support is we have a Patreon, and I think it's pretty good Patreon. Paul, you've been a patron of the Patreon. You can tell them. But some things that I want to share that we do there. We have different tiers available, of course, but we do movie insider news, some fun ones for our higher tiers. We just did a big movie drop. There's some really fun stuff you can go check out there. Special merch discount pricing. You get certain, we have special codes for you. First chance at exclusive updates, merch, and more, all that stuff. Exclusive shows. We're going to have an exclusive live show that's going to be coming on Wednesdays. That's going to be on our Patreon and for our Discord members only. And then we are going to be doing Warp Factor Fiction, a couple other things that we have going on. So hopefully you guys will be a part of that. But one thing I am offering, and it starts at the Mega Fan tier, and it's time with me, because I hate podcast coaching, but and not to boast, I'm very good at this. I've been doing this for 12 years, 13 actually at this point. And I'm good at this. I'm good at posting. I'm good at creating stuff. Am I the perfect? Well, podcasting, I know a lot. Filmmaking, I can fill you in on. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but all this stuff, I don't have a program for it. I have a system, and I don't feel like being the guy who's like, I'm going to put my system together for you, and you're going to have this. I'd rather be the guy, like, if you're supporting me on Patreon, you want a little time each month, like, $10 at the $10 tier, it's like 20 minutes every month. At the $20 tier, I think it's like $30 each month. And then at the $50 tier and above, it's an hour. And during that time, we could talk about any aspect of all those things, filmmaking, all aspects of filmmaking too. I'm happy to talk to you about. I talk about lighting. I want to talk about camera work. You want to talk about what shots should you do? Consulting. That's these guys. They come into labs all the time, and it's just ideas, and like, I'm trying to help you build out, like, so it's not just about talking about your podcast and be like, let's start what you want to talk about. Well, what are you finely tuned? What's your niche? What do you really want to go for? It's like when you meet a really good tattoo artist and they sit you down and they go, I don't want to do an infinity symbol on you. I'm an artist. You want to go to a tattoo peddler, go for it. And this is me. I'm literally verbatim, quoting a tattoo artist, not myself, but like, it was like very funny situation, but also at the same time very true. Like, I spend all of my time doing this. This is why I am who I am. This is why I do what I do. And it's the same thing. Like, I want to help you with that stuff, but I don't want to sell you shit. That makes sense. Like, I don't want to be like, well, buy this or buy my book or buy that. No, you want some time with me, we'll sit down. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to cover? You want to talk, I'll help you put it all together and then build it out and then give you a brand to package, but it takes time. So if you want to join up, you can join up on the Patreon. That's down below. That's another part of the tier. Happy to do that. We'll schedule that time. Other than that, Horror Snobs, we got our merch store. Go to snobsmerch.com. Use promo code SNOBS for 10% off your order. That's right. And we also have one of my favorites, the Godzilla Eras Tour design. That's up there. You can get the stickers, you can get the shirts, all that jazz. Remember Carolina Fear Fest? Their tickets are on sale now. Go get them. We are official media partners. We will be there having a great time, talking to the celebs, talking to the vendors, talking to the people, because that's what's so much fun. Actually, I love talking to people most, but we're going to be doing panels the whole night. It's going to be a great time. So join in with us. I know it was a little long-winded. I appreciate you joining in. Paul, you got anything you want to add before we go?
Hey, it's Snobbery Week, so be kind and make sure to wipe front to back.
I love it. And I'm going to jump off that. He's absolutely right. Be kind to each other, because that's important. Stay classy. Take care of yourselves, because that is also important. And we will talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.